I've been struggling a lot lately with this channel. It feels like a never-ending trial, and that we are defending attorneys that keep presenting overwhelming evidence but still can't convince most of the jury regarding who runs the world for the present time. When I say who runs the world, I mean the world's systems, government, military, culture, media, economics, infrastructure, technology. I'm not referring to our individual lives. And who is that? It's the fallen angels and their demons who follow them, all who sit under Satan, who is the temporary god of this world. I don't understand how that hierarchy is arranged or why it is that way for now. I'm sure some of you guys may understand that, and if so, please comment. I'm going to give an example of why it feels like a never-ending trial, at least to me sometimes, but first I will say that I know it's not, because Jesus already finished it. He said so at Caesarea Philippi, and on the cross he said it was finished, and then he resurrected. I know and believe that, and because of that, we aren't even defending attorneys in the first place. Jesus is our advocate against the accusers, the Satans. So why even keep presenting the evidence? And that is what I'm struggling with. A commenter said that I should balance it out with a positive message of the gospel, which is more important, and I agree, but I am not good at that. I do lean towards the negative, which is part of my personality, and I guess I need to try to practice a more positive message instead of making excuses. But in the meantime, I'm going to read what the commenter wrote, since they did a great job with that at the end of this video. Part of what they said was, we are going to see fallen angel technologies and lying signs and wonders very soon, which leads into my example about the never-ending trial and not convincing the jury. Natasha shared a video from San Diego of a jellyfish UAP yesterday, and I'm going to play a little of it because it's a good one. And Natasha has also seen a jellyfish UAP.
Electrically charged or something, and that they're throwing off equipment and stuff like that, and they were jamming radar or jamming signals or something.
Jellyfish were one of the types of UAPs described in the paper released by Congress last year. I think that paper was Immaculate Constellation. They talked about it in the congressional hearing last year, but CNN reposted that old congressional UAP hearing yesterday on YouTube, and they tagged it live. So you have to wonder why they did that. So the people who run the world know exactly what these things are because they have been communicating with them all along. And why do I say this? Because if you look at their art and media, you can tell what they are referencing. I covered that with many examples in my playlist titled Orbs Are Spirit Beings Manifesting in Our Frequency. And this is that playlist. And see here, this particular, where is it? There's one video, this one here, second one down right here, shows you a jellyfish UAP. It's on an album cover. And I also believe it because someone told me that people get paid a lot of money to summon them, and I believed that person. Also, Stephen Greer, who I guess is a CIA guy, takes people into the desert to summon them as part of Project Oracle, I think it's called, in the Arizona desert. So now for a jellyfish example in their media. The movie Spaceman with Adam Sandler prominently features the famous opera Rusalka. This video is sorry about that. Let me get to the spot. I'll play that now. From the movie featuring the opera Rusalka. The movie, his wife Lanka appears to Jacob in a forest scene, I think that's an oak tree, as a Rusalka. And a Rusalka is a Slavic female water entity that can also sometimes be associated with the forest. Its French counterpart is Melusine. They frequently resemble the concept of the mermaid or a siren and are linked with the pagan Slavic concept of fertility, but they're unclean spirits who drowned after becoming pregnant with unwanted children and they must live out their designated time on earth as Rusalka. The soul of the young woman who died in or near a river or a lake would come back to haunt that waterway, and her main purpose was to lure young men, seduced by her looks or her voice, into the depths of the water where she would entangle their feet with her long hair and submerge them. So in a very stupid way, this movie is likening space to water, with scenes of Jacob floating in space and his pregnant wife floating in a pool in a type of Roman bathhouse, and then Jacob having memories of when he was a boy of almost drowning when he was in the Chopra cloud. But Rusalka is also an opera. And Jacob plays this opera music on the spaceship, and he tells the talking spider that it's a beautiful opera of an immortal female entity who falls in love with a mortal man, but they can't be together. They're star-crossed lovers. And look, Natasha, the immortal entity in Rusalka, the opera, is a jellyfish. So opera is another way they promote their fallen angels and demons. And of course, they have to have, a Gothic cathedral in the scenery of their opera and a rose-petaled window. But fallen angels and demons are spiritual in another dimension, in another world, outer darkness, space. We're told in the book of Jude that they left their habitation or dwelling place for the spirit, and they come through portals into this physical world. And a goddess is a female version of an angel taking a different gender. They can also take animal form, and that's partly where the changeling understanding of the occult comes from. For example, Zeus in Greek mythology turned into a wolf, which is likely where the werewolf mythology or history originates. And I suppose it could also take the form of a giant talking spider or a Rusalka or a jellyfish. So opera is a common way that they promote their fallen angels and demons. That's why, opera's mainly for the elites, and when regular people go, they don't really understand it, but that's what it's about. The movie The Fifth Element featured an opera, and it had this alien singing the opera, and this scene was titled The Diva Dance. And I think this alien here is supposed to resemble that jellyfish type alien creature as well. Sir Gary Oldman was in that movie, and he's a really high up in the club, Knight Bachelor. He was knighted once before, and then again recently in 2025 by King Charles. I think he was made Knight Bachelor then, and I'm not even sure what that means, Knight Bachelor, but for one thing, it means they know exactly what's going on, and they are likely bloodliners, but for sure used by the bloodliners. So the fifth element is ether, which is outer darkness in the Babylonian religion. And these people, the royals, they follow the Babylonian religion and that creation myth. The Enuma Elish was writing about the Babylonian creation myth, and that's why they have Tiamat, the mother dragon, at the top of their genealogy tree in the Realm of the Ringlords book. Order out of chaos comes straight from that Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation myth, which, by the way, refers to God as Yahweh. Those writings say that Marduk creates order out of chaos. Another one of their knights, Sir Henry Rawlinson, a Syriologist, tried to claim that the Bible is rooted from the Enuma Elish. So then another commenter directed me to a channel who makes a lot of UAP videos, and that commenter is not New Age and does not agree with what that channel claims UAPs are, but the commenter was just showing me their videos, and the channel is Plant Abundance, and the host was saying that the UAPs are his star family, and that he's being given messages from the Galactic Federation, and that we are headed into the Golden Age. And that channel has over 500,000 subscribers. That's how many people are buying into that ideology, or how much that channel has been promoted by YouTube. So that is my example. That is why at times I feel in my flesh like we are losing, instead of knowing that victory has already been claimed by Jesus. So now I'm going to read what the commenter reminded me of, and their examples of victory. And the commenter said, and this is paraphrasing, regardless of our calling, we all need to preach the positive good news of the gospel. Live by Faith Ministries ends his videos with a very calming and reassuring message of how much more powerful God is than the demons and how exciting and relieved we will all be when justice is done and they are gone. The demons beg Jesus not to send them into the abyss, and that the demons believe they shudder. God killed the giants several times in the Bible. That is a reassuring thought. No weapon formed against you will succeed. We are all going to see fallen angel tech very soon, but we are also going to see miracles performed by the two witnesses, very much like the showdown that we read about in Exodus with Moses and Aaron and Pharaoh and his magic practicing priests. The first 3 plagues were duplicated by the priests of Pharaoh, but after that they were powerless. Plus, each of those plagues were a direct hit at specific Egyptian gods. God's holy angels will intercede to save us, just like they did with Lot and his wife when Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. The fact that we are seeing Satanism and occultism becoming so much less occult or hidden, and that they are now doing it in the open, should be a very exciting sign to us. Christ told us, when you see all these things occurring, raise your heads, because your deliverance is near. It's not easy living through this, but our true purpose is to be the salt of the earth and shine the bright light of love and the Gospels and share those hopes with people. Things are going to get dark very soon, but we all know what the answer will be. And that's the end of the comment. It was an excellent comment. Thank you. In saying that away that I'm not good at, I know you're right, and I will try to do a better job of voicing that in the future. Thanks for listening.